What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another What If with me, Anime Master. And today we will be listening to my What If. What if Deku was a Jedi Knight? Part 1. So let's begin. There's only 0 Jedi, and there's only 1 Sith. But there only must be one balance to the Force. And it happens in every generation. The last one has died. And now, Deku, he's heir to the throne. So Deku's born. And his mother, Inko Midoriya. And the surprising thing is, Deku doesn't even have a father. He just came and now she's living with him and she's taking care of him like a proper son. And Deku, he's at 5 at this moment. And he goes to bed. And he has this nightmare of a lava planet. And a guy with brown hair. And his eyes are full on rage. With red eyes, and a person with orange hair, and he's saying, "It's over, Anakin, I have the high ground." And the person says, "Don't underestimate my power," and jumps and cuts off his legs, and then Deku just wakes up, and he has a panic attack, and his mom Inko says, "Honey, what's going on?" And Midori is like, "I had a dream. It was a lava planet, I guess. Or it was a volcano. And there was these 2 people fighting with these laser swords. And one said high ground and the guy chopped off his legs and that guy was burning alive." And this scared Deku and his mom. So Inko, she went to a psychiatrist and gave it to Deku. And Izuku, he starts talking to this psychiatrist, and she doesn't have anything. Deku's actually being normal. Like, these are proper nightmares. He's thinking of battles like Rey versus Kylo Ren, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Yoda versus Palpatine, Mace Windu versus Palpatine too, and ancient Jedis he doesn't even know. And he only remembers the name Yoda, and he's a very green, wise man. And once he kind of saw him, but he was very computeristic, and it was like a hologram. And then we skip when Deku was 7 years old. He's just walking to school, and he trips. And he sees a green toe in an alleyway, and he follows it, and then he sees Yoda, and he says, "How old you must come. You are ready to become a Jedi. You must be Izuku Midoriya, the new heir for balance into the Force. You will be trained by Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One, and also Luke Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and also me, and also Mace Windu, Qui-Gon, and all the rest of the Jedis. And you will bring balance to the Force. And may the Force be with you." And Deku instantly said, "Always," like he was already connected to the Force. And he's like, "What?" Then 2 months later, Deku's at home and he's on his phone, and then he sees Obi-Wan and he says, "It's time for your training, young one. Come on, get your robe." And then Deku's like, "Who are you? Why are you sneaking into my room, Mom?" And then Obi-Wan says, "You can talk about your mom anytime you want, but this is about Jedi business, Padawan." And we see Ahsoka, and she said, "Hey, boy, maybe we chillax with this kid. He's just a kid, by the way. He doesn't even know about a Jedi." And Deku's like, Jedi, I've heard about that name. And Obi-Wan, he explains about the Jedi and how they used to protect the galaxies from the Sith Lords. And they used to do that before the Dark Times. And now there's a new Sith Lord called Darth Vengeance. He took them all out, and one Jedi killed him, but he went into a different body. So as Palpatine did. And now they're both reigning thrones, but Palpatine's retired. So now we need your help to fight this overcoming evil. And Izuku's like, evil? But I don't even have a quirk. Look at Bakugo, he's got explosive. And Obi-Wan's like, young Padawan, the Force is always going to be with you, even if you connect yourself out of the Force. And then Cal Kestis, if you don't know him, he's from the video game. He comes in, he says, use the Force. It's a great balance. You can use any comeback you want. It doesn't have to be a quirk. You can save people in danger, just like your mom. And you'll be going to UA, a place where you can be actually safety. Kind of like the Jedi Council. And then we see Mace Windu and he's saying, the boy must be trained by now. So Deku, he tells his mom. His mom can't see the Force Ghost, it's only Deku, because he's Force sensitive. And he says, I want to train. I want to go UA. And she's like, UA? But you're quirkless. And Deku says, I know, Mom. But maybe I'm a late bloomer. I can feel it inside me. I'm destined to do this. Just trust me. And Inku, she trusts him. So Deku, he goes to Dagobah Beach. And Obi-Wan, he's training Deku. So as Luke is actually testing Deku's combat. And Deku, he fights more like Anakin in Attack on the Clones, because he's not the pro version of him in Revenge of the Sith. And yeah, he's been fighting for the next 4 years, and at this point he's 11, and he's learnt how to force push, force pull, and also force choke, because at one point he's going to kill a Sith, so he might as well use all the training he needs, but he won't use the darkness as always the Sith, and he won't fear hatred. Anakin tells him that he should be Darth Vader, that he overcome the light, and if he becomes a new Darth, he will also become the light, because you're the chosen one, and I don't want you to follow the path that I once did, and that's why you must bring balance to the Force, like once I did. I do have faith in you, Padawan. When you're 15, you won't be a Padawan, you will be a Jedi Knight. Just like all of us, you'll learn how to communicate people in the Force by using their minds. You know, mind trick them. And there's only this one species that could do this. Pull out objects from anywhere in the galaxy. And you're already showing that, but with objects instead of lightsabers. You can do this. I do have faith in you. And at this moment, they are training, and Deku just lost something. So he goes back up after the speech, and he just does it perfect, just doing front flips over rubble and parkour, just like Cal did in the video game, but he's doing it with flips and all that. It's more acrobatic. And yeah, and then Yoda, he says, during your spare time on Earth, for this 1 year, you're going to make a rocket, a ship called the Millennium Falcon. So during the 2 years, actually, it takes Deku 2 years. So Deku at this moment, he was actually 11, I think, and now he's 13. He's created the Millennium Falcon very smaller than it was, because Deku's not that smart. He got learnt by a vision of Han Solo communicating with Ben Solo. And yeah, so he goes in the Millennium Falcon, and he goes high, and everyone sees this figure, and they think it's a UFO, and all units of military just come with jets, and they're speeding towards Deku, and Deku doesn't know how to use the controls, and he's just fiddling around, smashing buttons. You know those video game players who smash buttons? That's basically Deku. And Deku just hitting them, and then he moves up, and then he presses accelerate, and he goes light speed, and everyone's like, what the? Making a shockwave, blasting the jets away from the life force Deku just created, and he just rockets into space, and he travels super fast past Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, everywhere, and he went to this new galaxy, and it was a snowy blizzard place. Well, Yoda once got his new lightsaber, and he found the crystal gems, the kyber crystals, and he picked one. But Yoda came up, Obi-Wan and all the Jedi came, and they said, "You shall not pick your weapon. The Force shall pick yours." And Deku allowed his hand out, and one came. It was the blue kyber crystal. And he's congratulating Deku for actually successing that he can now use a lightsaber instead of just straight out combat by using his feet, and using the Force. So Deku, he makes a handle, and he puts the kyber crystal in, and he literally just charges, making this electrified lightsaber. And he's like, yes, we have trained him well, but now let me say it took him actually 1 year to make the Millennium Falcon. So it takes him 3 years to learn 6 different ways how to build a lightsaber. And Deku here is a fast learner, more faster than any Jedi, because they're trying to rush him so he can defeat the Sith and the new Empire. And Deku senses that they are now creating a stormtroopers, and he's getting worried that could he feed him, but Yoda has faith in him, and that means very good. And yeah, so he picks his robe, and it's his hoodie. He got a belt where he put his lightsaber, and he wears this kind of like a brown lightish thing underneath, and a gauntlet on the right side, because he hurt himself one time while fighting with Anakin, because Anakin is more faster than him at lightsaber duels. And and they bandage below his foot. So Izuku, he applies for UA, and all the Jedi, they're saying he's doing great. He will destroy the Sith. If he becomes a Darth, we all know that he will turn, but he would have killed many. And then it's now the 6 months. Deku trains his life out of it. He uses now all the techniques of the Force. Pull, push, everything. Mind tricks. And because when he's 15, they can sense that he's gonna destroy the Sith. So he mind tricks his mom to move to America and to stay safe. So she does that. So Deku's now living by himself. So she doesn't have to worry about him or anything. And during this time, Deku, he told her that he's now a Jedi, and he explained so as Yoda, he came as a Force ghost, and yeah. So Deku's training his life out. He's learning even hatred, to destroy the Sith and to bring balance to the Force, or even maybe end the Sith and the Jedi. And yeah, so it's now the entrance exam, and Izuku, he's arrived, and he's wearing literally this, and everybody's like, what the hell? What is this kid doing? Is he going to like a new school uniform dance or something? Cause it's just an intro. You just wear like gym clothes. This guy's wearing a full-on gown, and he's wearing the gown like what most Jedi's do, and then he throws it away later on. And yeah, so he's wearing the hoodie and that, and everyone's like, "What the hell, dude? Why are you wearing a cape with a hoodie?" And Dagger's like, "You don't Jedi business, leave me alone." And he mind tricks him, and the guy leaves him alone. And he doesn't bump into Uraraka because he's more confident. And I'm not gonna do an Uraraka ship. I'm going to do a Momo ship, because yeah, I feel like with weapons, that's the closest thing I could do, really. And yeah. So Deku, he goes in, and he does his test, acing it, because remember, Jedis, they are also smart. They learned scriptures from years beyond their time. And yeah, so he passes, and he gets let's say he got second place, and Momo got first, because he was mostly doing Jedi business. And yeah, and Izuku, he went to the hall, and yeah, and he sat down. But this time he sat down next to Bakugo. And Bakugo says, "What are you wearing, you dweeb? This is no Comic-Con. Are you crazy?" And Deku, he mind tricks him, and Bakugo just silence. And Deku, he removes his hoodie, and he just listens to President Mike explaining. And then Deku heads out into the practical, and everybody, they're like, "What in the hell? It's not cosplay, is it?" And Deku removes his gown, and everybody sees his like 12-pack and his hoodie and his lightsaber, and they think, "What the hell is that in his belt?" And Ito's like, "What are you doing this? This is not dress code. They said wear something PD-ish." And Deku like, "This is Jedi business. Leave me alone." And Ito leaves him alone. And everyone's like, does he have some mind trick? Quirk? And President Mike says, "Go." And Deku, he slow-mos everybody, just like what Cal does in Jedi Fallen Order. And he walks, and every midnight, Aizawa, they see this and they're like, what? This kid's got a slow-mo and a mind trick quirk? What's going on? And Deku lifts the robot and he crushes it and he says, may the force be with me. And all the Jedi in his head say, always. And he force hooks his lightsaber in his hand, and he starts charging, and he super jumps. He force jumps, and then he starts weaving his lightsaber in the air, cutting the robot's heads left or right, doing turns. And I'm upgrading the robots. They shoot beams of like the stormtroopers do in their arms, and they will faster because it was kind of boring. So Deku, he's dodging all the things with his lightsaber, firing them right back with his lightsaber, deflecting them. And then he starts slow-moing them, and then he starts crushing the robots with his force, and he starts pushing the robots in and out through thousands and thousands of robots. And everybody's like, oh, what? I'm still here? And that kid's like a mile there? And Deku, he's literally all around the whole fake city, and he's just crushing robots left and right, and he's stabbing them with his lightsaber, and everyone's like, is he even allowed that weapon? And then Deku does the most weirdest thing. He jumps off a building, and then he throws his lightsaber, and it cuts through 100 robots. And then, yeah, Deku sees a girl called Uraraka. No, he sees a girl with brown hair and rubbers on her feet. And then Deku literally pushes all the rubber off her. And then he literally he force jumps in the air, cuts the legs of the robot, and then he does the Anakin move where he twists the lightsaber around and does the twirls, and he did the Palpatine thing, and he went through the robot, and yeah. And his lightsaber just went back into the cyber crystal, and yeah, he put it back in his pocket, and he literally force lifts Uraraka and gives her to Recovery Girl. And everybody is like, what? All Might's like, I should have given my quirk to him, not Mirio. And he's saying this in his head, and Aizawa's looking at All Might like, this kid should have been your successor. You're being too rushed on Mirio just because he was a top student. Doesn't mean there's other kids. And Izuku, he leaves. And yeah, he gets his gown and he puts it on. And he just walks away into the sunlight. He goes to Dagobah Beach. It's all clean. Sorry about that, it was just my phone. And yeah, Izuku, he looked into the distance, into the sun. And next to him was Luke Skywalker. Just the same thing like he once did in Tatooine. And just looked into the distance. So we skip 2 weeks later. Deku's at home, training with his lightsaber, because it's kind of cold outside. And he gets a letter, and it's from UA. And it says, you got a whooping 1,000 points, and something. And everyone's got at least 100 because Deku allowed them. He threw the robots literally straight at them so they can pass. And yeah. And Izuku, he's not excited because he's saying, I shouldn't be excited for this. There's more up and coming threats, like the Sith rising. This is my duty, my destiny. This is why I'm here, to fulfill the prophecy. And Deku, he goes to school the next week. And we're now in Aizawa's test, the first day of school. So Deku arrives with his gown. And everybody's like, what the hell? I remember that kid. He was in the entrance exam. And he literally force pushes the door, and everyone hears his bang. And everyone looks towards the door in the class, and they're like, what the hell? And Izuku just slowly takes off his hoodie, and he says, hello there. And he sits down. Bakugo's like, damn nerd, you replaced me on my place? I only got 150 points? Huh? And then Izuku is like, you know, Bakugo, if you use your anger, you'll become a villain. And nobody would want that too, do you? Because I, one day, have to stop you. Bakugo is getting angry and pissed. And then Aizawa wakes up and Aizawa says, oi, don't touch that kid. And then he says, let's do the sports thing. And Momo says, what about the orientation? And Aizawa says the same thing in canon. And yeah. So they all go to the locker room. Deku, he's just waiting with his hoodie, just looking down, meditating with his crossed legs, just floating. And everybody's like, what? And people put their hands up underneath Deku's legs like, how is this? Can he fly? And in his head, he's speaking to Qui-Gon, giving him wisdom and knowledge. And then Aizawa says, boys, you can now leave. And Deku literally levitates and he's just moving. And Aizawa's like, what the? Probably his quirk. And everybody's like, what? And Deku, he removes his gown and he stretches. And Aizawa says, how far can you put your lightsaber out? No, how far can you throw this ball? And Deku, he says, let me see. So he throws the ball, and then he uses the force, and it goes infinity. And Ulrika's like, oh my gosh, it's like my quirk. And Momo, she touches Deku's lightsaber, and Deku literally instantly turns on his lightsaber, and the lightsaber is literally near her neck. And Deku's like, don't touch my weapon. Give a Jedi's weapon a good amount of respect as you will do to yourself. And Momo's like, geez, it's just a weapon. I just want to know if I can create it. And Deku says, never create a red one, or never create any of them. This is only a Jedi's weapon. Nobody who's not worthy of this can wield this. My masters have given me this. And now, I must fulfill it. And everybody's like, masters? What do you mean, masters? And everybody, and Deku's like, never mind. You'll know in the far future. Or maybe, if you lived in the past, you would understand. And as I was like, okay. Then it was Uraraka-san, she got infinity. And she said, Deku. As that one kid said, and Izuku says, do not call me Deku. Just call me Izuku. I'm mind tricking her, and Deku says, now leave me alone in peace. And she leaves him alone. And everybody's like, but dude, she just tried to chat with you. And Mineta said, dude, she's totally your type. And Deku says, she's not my type. No Jedi are meant to fall in love. No Jedi. And he's thinking about Anakin Anakin, he had children, so it was different type of Jedis. And they had a family, they had a girlfriend, they had a wife. And Jake was like, but I'm kind of allowed, am I? If the Jedi Council are. And then he still doesn't like Uraka, but he kind of fancies Momo, because she's kind of hot to him. And Deku starts flexing his muscles a little bit, and she kind of blushes, and she turns away. And then the rest of the day goes. Deku aces and pair of ace of all of them. So as from the running, yeah. If you haven't seen episode 1, The Phantom Menace, there's this part when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan literally force dash, and it's literally like they're the Flash, and they just instantly do that. And Izuku, he does that. And yeah. And it's the end of the school day. Izuku is going home. All by himself. Till he sees these stormtroopers threatening to kill this old man who's homeless. And they're wearing these white armors, and Deku recognizes them from his dreams. And Deku literally locks on his lightsaber and he switches it on. Then he literally jumps into the alleyway, and then he starts dodging the bullets, and then he starts deflecting them back. Around there's like 15 of them, and they answering, do you know any Jedi? And then all of them are like, there's a Jedi, get him! They all have just bad aim, and Deku's just cutting the weapons, the blasters, and starts cutting the hands off. He starts cutting the stomach, and he's like, yeah, now this is what's being a Jedi instead of a Padawan. Then he cuts off the head of the stormtrooper, lifts the stormtrooper up to the wall, and then Deku just splits the guy in half. And Deku's like, anybody else? Just leave this homeless man alone. You clearly think he's a Jedi. And Deku calls the cops, and he goes, and the old man's like, who the hell are you? And Deku looks back, and he says, I'm a Jedi Knight, and may the Force be with you. And the man just instantly knew, always. Because everybody's got a connection to the Force, but nothing like Izuku. And this is going to be the end of my part 1. So, hope you guys like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.